All right, everyone, welcome to our webinar. We're going to have 30 minutes packed with information about IVF, about RMA, and about the Sunfish refund program. So I am Angela from Sunfish, and I am joined here by Dr. Brad Miller, who I'll introduce in a moment in more details. He's one of the founding partners and reproductive endocrinologists at RMA of Michigan. Hi, Dr. Miller. Thank you for joining. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Great. All right. So let me share my screen. I'm just going to kick us off and then we will pass things over to you, Dr. Miller, to talk a little bit about the IVF process. And then I'll spend a few minutes talking about the Gold membership program, our refund program, and we'll end with plenty of time for Q&A. So as we're talking, feel free to chat us your questions. I'll do my best to respond to them if anything comes up as we go, and we'll have ample time to answer and address more of them at the end. So just look for that little chat feature on the bottom. I think after several years of COVID, everyone's pretty familiar with Zoom. So to introduce myself, I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called Sunfish. We partner with RMA of Michigan, and we're really delighted to have Dr. Brad Miller here today, who's the founding physician and previously was a partner at RMA New Jersey. So he brings decades of experience to his practice and has done over 4,000 embryo transfers. So has worked with thousands of patients, has extremely high success rates, and has deep roots in Detroit, Michigan. So he and our team are very passionate about serving patients based in Michigan. And a little bit about me. I have been working in the reproductive health world for my entire career. Most recently was a director at the largest surrogacy agency where I firsthand worked with thousands of people who were trying to afford assisted reproduction, IVF, etc. And I saw how difficult the financial side of this journey was. Personally, I've also done several egg retrievals myself, so I've also sat in the patient's shoes. My team and I came together a few years ago to develop a system of financial tools to help make this process a little bit easier financially, especially if you don't have insurance or employer coverage. And specifically, we offer loans as well as a money back guarantee. So if you work with us and RMA of Michigan, if you don't get pregnant, you get a guaranteed refund if you participate in this program. So with that, and I'm based in Los Angeles, our team is distributed throughout the country. We were in Michigan recently and got to see what a fabulous clinic and team is based there. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Dr. Miller, if you want to say a little bit more about yourself, and then we'd love to hear about RMA of Michigan.
Sure. My name is Dr. Brad Miller. Like Angela has already stated, I was one of the founding partners at RMA of Michigan, along with Dr. Wolf. We started the practice back in 2006. We've been growing. We just added a new physician, Dr. George, at the beginning of this year, which we're happy to have. But basically, I would tell you that our practice has been patient-focused. We always try to do what's best for the patient. Admittedly, I think the magic always happens in the laboratory, and that's what gives us our better success rates and better birth outcomes than maybe some other programs. But as I mentioned, we are always trying to focus on what is best for the patient. Sometimes it's not IVF. Sometimes it's very simple treatment like Clomid or letrozole with inseminations. But we are prepared to move forward with IVF if that is necessary. And having good embryologists, good nurses, good support staff, I think is key to doing that. And as Angela is going to talk about too, I think one of the blocks to successful outcomes is the financial end of things. And certainly we've always tried to make things affordable for patients to go through. And sometimes insurances help, sometimes they don't. And I think that's where Sunfish can come in and play a role for those patients who do not have any insurance coverage.
Great. So can you just say a little bit about, I think many people here on our Zoom are familiar with IVF, but when to consider it and what are some of the ways in which it's customized for each patient?
Sure. So IVF obviously becomes the only solution for patients that have tubal factor where their tubes are blocked, or there's a male factor infertility where the sperm count is very low. That really becomes our only alternative. Sometimes patients who've tried or failed other conservative therapies, like I mentioned, Clomid or letrozole, or gonadotropins with insemination, and they've not succeeded in 3 to 4 cycles, then IVF becomes our mainstay, even of choice. And IVF allows us to get the egg out of the body, fertilize that egg in the laboratory, grow the embryo. We can assess the embryo in that development. Sometimes we will just transfer the best looking embryo. I call it a beauty contest. Or for older patients, we might do PGT, where we test the embryo. So the embryo gets biopsied and then frozen. And then we later find out if the embryo is normal or not chromosomally, to transfer hopefully a normal embryo down the road on a frozen cycle. But IVF is certainly, I think, our most successful treatment option. Unfortunately, it is one of the more costly ones, but again, it is many times the solution for many couples struggling with infertility.
Great segue. You mentioned the cost, so I'll talk a little bit about Sunfish and how we help with that. This is some of our team. Our goal is to help everyone afford parenthood, especially if you need support building your family through assisted reproduction. We have spent years now helping hundreds of parents build their families, and we would be really excited to be a part of your team to help you have a child too. So we offer a new program called the Sunfish Gold program that helps guide and protect you along your journey. A little bit about why we started this program. So IVF is becoming increasingly common, and IVF baby is now born every 45 seconds. And for many families, this is a really successful way to have children, but oftentimes you may need more than one attempt, more than one cycle. And so we've developed this protection program to support you as you go through IVF to help make the financial burden a little bit less stressful. We work with many reproductive endocrinologists, including Dr. Miller and his team. This is a quote from one of our other advisors who just talks about how Sunfish can really be a financial support system as you go through IVF. So let's talk about the details of our program. Basically, if you're going through IVF, you need to go through a few phases: retrieve an egg, make embryos, and transfer those embryos. Those costs can vary, and if you don't know how many tries it's going to take you, it can be very stressful. I know this firsthand. It can be very stressful to know how much the total cost is going to be. So we offer a single package where you would just pay one price for all of those steps, including unlimited transfers during your program, which lasts for up to 1 year. So if you enroll in the Sunfish Gold program, you would get that treatment package. And if you do not achieve pregnancy in that first cycle, then we will refund you. We will pay you money back so that you can use those funds if you wish to start again, to try again, or do something else. But we'll be with you every step of the way. And in addition to the excellent care that RMA of Michigan would provide, we will also offer you a dashboard of resources developed by our IVF fertility nurses, things to logistically prepare, like what should I pack for my egg retrieval, any particular nutritional supplements, diets, things to consider, whether or not you can go in a hot tub, things that have been kind of medically proven. Of course, we rely very closely on the RMA of Michigan team, but some of those logistical questions can come through Sunfish, and we'll be with you throughout the journey through your dashboard, as well as offer you human support and financial guidance. So in addition to this package, if you need a loan or other financial support, we can help provide that too. Let's talk a little bit about how the program works. If you decide to go through IVF with Dr. Miller and his team, there's 5 big steps to this program. The first would obviously be to enroll. We would collect data with your medical team and create a custom plan for you. These packages come to roughly the same cost as if you're paying a la carte for retrieval and a couple transfers. Then you would go through the process of trying to get pregnant with Sunfish. You would retrieve your eggs, you would make embryos. In many cases, you might do genetic testing called PGTA testing on those embryos, and then you would transfer them and try to get pregnant. And we will cover the cost of all of those steps. But most importantly, if you do not get pregnant and need to stop the program at any point, we will give you your full guaranteed refund. So again, many of us have been in your shoes. We realize that this is a stressful process, and we designed this package to protect you, the patient, as much as possible. Now, if you get pregnant on your very first try, this program will kind of be a net neutral package for you. However, and that's great. We would hope for that. We hope that you get pregnant on your very first try. If it takes you more tries or you don't get pregnant, which we define as basically graduating your IVF clinic to your OB, if you don't get pregnant, then you get a refund. If it takes you more tries than you thought, we're covering the cost of that. So it's really designed to be flexible. With that, I think we'll pause, and we already got some questions chatted to us. I'm going to stop the share here. But that's basically how the program works. Oh, and one more exciting thing, in collaboration with RMA of Michigan this month, for people that enroll in the Sunfish Gold program, we, Sunfish, as part of our Thanksgiving gift, are gifting a discount of $1,500. So we really hope we'll have the opportunity to work with you and support you on your journey, and you can take advantage of that gift. All right, so let's open it up for questions. I'm just going to read out the ones that have come in. One for you, Dr. Miller. Do
Sure.
patients have any control over the success of an IVF cycle?
Good question. I would tell you that yes, in some degree. I mean, obviously, there. One thing I can tell patients: there's nothing they can do to make it fail, but we do transfer the best quality embryo. I think as far as things that you can do to make it successful is, eating a healthy diet, regular exercise, taking your supplements, primarily prenatal vitamins, folic acid. Those are the things that we can do to make a successful outcome. But once we do all that, we do transfer a healthy embryo, then it's a little bit out of both of our hands, both the patient and the physician. We just have to hope for the best. But, long term, when you look at outcomes, they are successful, once we get to that point. If not the first time, most likely the second time. And getting back to your program with the money back guarantee, it's like at least takes the financial pressure off of them. Obviously there's still an emotional component that goes through a failed cycle, but at least financially, they don't have to worry about where did they come up with the money again to go through another try.
That is very well said. And I think, yeah, there's at a certain point, it's up to chance. We've seen a lot of the numbers, they kind of vary, but let's say if you have perfect embryo, maybe your first transfer has, let's say, like a 65% chance of being successful. So 35% of the time, when everything's perfect, perfect embryo, perfect womb, you're still not going to get pregnant. So having that kind of guarantee can help. Okay, we got a couple more questions. Does Sunfish offer its program for embryo transfer only and no retrieval? Or if you've already done the retrieval, do you still have some options? So right now, the package is designed to be the retrieval and transfers together. What we can do is if you want to add more retrievals up front, we can include that in the package. So there is some flexibility. And if you've already done a cycle and it hasn't worked, or used your benefits for your first cycle and it hasn't worked, you can enroll at Sunfish for your second cycle. But no, we do not offer a transfer only guarantee currently, although that is a great idea and we're hoping to add more products. Does Sunfish work with progeny insurance? So kind of, if you have insurance that's covering your journey, use that first. And once you've exhausted those benefits, then you can utilize Sunfish. With Sunfish, you would pay cash for the package, which we've developed with RMA. and you can pay that cash either through, money that you or your family has saved, or we also offer loans as well. Okay, another question has come in. I'm just reading them all through as I get them. This is kind of a theoretical question. Dr. Miller, do you expect the cost of IVF to go down or increase in the future? And what do you think will drive that?
Well, the honest answer is I don't know. Certainly I think as we have more AI, artificial intelligence come in, we're doing less monitoring, less ultrasounds, less blood work. So to answer your question, then I would say that would probably ultimately lower cost, though, the AI component, the companies that are developing that are charging patients and charging us for that technology. But I think overall, I do see costs coming down because things are becoming more automated, not only with the laboratory and the ultrasounds, but also in the embryology lab, where we are using constant monitoring. We call it an embryo scope, where the embryo is being monitored by video 24/7. So there could be less human involvement. And with that, there would be, obviously a cost savings eventually.
Perfect. Okay, great. I agree with that. I think there's a lot of exciting innovation happening, but in general, I will say historically, we typically see IVF prices go up about 5 to 10% every year. So for many people, waiting actually does mean that the process gets more expensive. We've gotten a question, is the Sunfish program for new patients only or already established patients with RMA? Absolutely, you can still enroll. I will chat to everyone our website, or you can check it out while we're chatting during the webinar. Actually, let me share my screen so everyone can see it right now. If you are interested in learning more about pricing and what your specific refund amount would be, you can email us at planning@joinsunfish.com or visit our website, joinsunfish.com/gold_program. So feel free to check out that website. You can also call us at this number. Through the website, you can set up a consultation with our team. It's just 5 minutes. We'll take as long as you need, but just 5 minutes so we can kind of get you set up, learn about your specific situation, make sure this is a fit. And importantly, if you set up a consultation, I believe our team is giving gift cards for everyone who does a consultation with us this month too. So you get a little gift for your time that you can use for anything you need as you move forward with building your family. Okay, let me stop this share so I can go back to our questions more easily. But happy to go back to that if you need an additional. Okay, great. So another question has come in. Can you describe what you do in your first IVF consultation and screening appointment?
Sure. So we make sure that you're an appropriate candidate for IVF, and that includes doing some ovarian reserve screening, which includes day 3 FSH, AMH, antral follicle count. If those basic labs come back, then we start looking at maybe a cavity evaluation, like a saline ultrasound, a semen analysis for the male partner, make sure we have good sperm. And if all that checks out, then we move into infectious disease testing for both partners. And then we would set up a cycle to start IVF.
Perfect. All right. Sounds pretty straightforward. And at that point, once you've done your initial screening, that's when you would, Sunfish would run that information through our model to calculate your exact refund amount. The refunds that you would get back if you don't achieve pregnancy will vary. It's up to 90%, but it will vary. There's a range based on that information. Okay, another question came in. Can we use a frozen egg donor? Yes, actually. We do need to collect some information about the specific donor and their biology to ensure that they'd be a good fit from this program, but definitely reach out to us and set up a consultation. We'd be happy to coordinate with you on that. All right, next question that came in. Can you talk a little bit about some of the advancements in IVF technology or protocols that may benefit patients, and what are you in particular most excited about?
Sure. I mean, things that are reality right now are PGT, as Angela already mentioned. So we have the capability of biopsying, freezing embryos, and testing for chromosomal abnormalities such as Down syndrome. Obviously, if a couple comes with a genetic disorder like cystic fibrosis, we would check the embryos for that as well. So that's been around for quite a while now. And I think obviously it's increasing live birth rates, decreasing miscarriages, and somewhat eliminating the risk of a birth defect for these couples. So that's sort of here and now. Future, as I already mentioned, artificial intelligence is coming in, and they're looking at thousands upon thousands of patients who've had similar circumstances as far as the stimulation goes, and telling us, should we go longer on the stimulation? Should we go shorter on the stimulation? And helping us make decisions. And even in the laboratory, there's algorithms being developed where they're looking at embryo development, embryo morphology, and predicting which embryo would be most likely to result in a baby. So that's sort of the future, the Star Wars component of IVF. A lot of studies are going on. A lot of pilot studies are ongoing, but I don't think that that's at the mainstay right now. But I think in the next 5 to 10 years, AI is going to be a integral part of what we do in IVF.
That I could not agree more with, and I will add, in at Sunfish, the predictive model that we've developed to help people calculate their refund rate is utilizing a lot of that same predictive modeling, where we've looked at 200,000 historical cycles to try to figure out if you and your partner look like someone, or ideally dozens of someones. We're able to help predict your chances of success and how much it's going to cost you to achieve pregnancy through IVF. So I think there's a lot of interesting applications to predictive modeling and AI to be able to both estimate your success, and then, as Dr. Miller mentioned, pick the specific points in your process, like when you're triggered, which embryo to implant. That will also increase your likelihood of a live birth.
For sure.
I feel really excited about that too. Dr. Miller, one question from the Sunfish team: who do you think would be a great candidate for the Sunfish program, for the refund program?
Well, obviously, those who don't have very much coverage for insurance, the ones that, don't have progeny or have used up all their progeny, benefits. We still, unfortunately, in Michigan and other parts of the country, there are a lot of patients who don't have any coverage at all. And sometimes they take part-time jobs with various companies who do have coverage just to get that IVF coverage. So I think your program allows them that opportunity where, hey, you don't have to quit your job and go work for one of these other companies. Will remain nameless, but it's just, I think that you have to exist because it's not 100% coverage. Now, certainly, I think it's a lot better than it's been over the last, 15, 20 years. More and more companies are now offering some type of coverage for assisted reproduction, but, still, it's not 100% anywhere near that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think anyone who's paying out of pocket, or maybe has the opportunity for reimbursement or help from their family down the road, but has some out of pocket component, should speak to us. We would love to help. And I think the unfortunate reality is, even when people do have some coverage, maybe their first cycle doesn't work out, and then they switch to paying out of pocket. So we're an option there as well. Another question came in for you, Dr. Miller. I suspect this might be an existing patient. Can RMA use Zymote for sperm selection?
Yeah, we've looked into that. Our sperm selection process, we feel, is actually equal to or superior than what Zymote's doing, and without the wear and tear on the sperm. So we have not adopted that as a modality to select sperm.
Okay, great. Can you give us a little bit of a sense of what it's like to be a reproductive endocrinologist? What does your typical day look like?
Well, we start early. We start seeing patients for ultrasounds of around 6 a.m. We do that on purpose so patients don't have to be late to work or take days off. So our monitoring regularly occurs between 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. every morning. Then after that, we shortly start doing egg retrievals. And then following the egg retrievals, we're doing embryo transfers. And then sprinkled throughout the day, new patients, follow-ups. Those are typically more so in the afternoon. That's, I would say, our standard day. And we operate, 365 days out of the year. The only day that we try to get off is Christmas. So
Yeah, one day is coming up.
one
Um,
day is coming. Yep.
All right. Yeah. So just to wrap up here, we only have 5 more minutes. We are really excited to be a partner with RMA. Like I said, we have a team that will be at your disposal if you do partner with Sunfish as part of your RMA journey. So in addition to all the great support that RMA offers, the Sunfish team and all of our resources will be available to you as well. So anyone who is either starting IVF or continuing with a new cycle and wants to both have the protection of covering unlimited transfers as well as the protection that we will pay you back. We will refund you if you don't get pregnant. Please reach out to us. Here's a photo of me and my colleague at the RMA office when we were out there. What is your favorite thing about RMA of Michigan, Dr. Miller?
I think the people, my colleagues that I work with, the nurses, the medical assistants, the marketing people, administration, all of them, they all have a passion for growing families. So whether they're in the laboratory or behind the scenes, just doing the finances, I think they all realize that growing a family is, essential and a gift. And they really enjoy what they're doing. They love helping patients and seeing the outcomes.
I really felt that when I was there with the team at RMA of Michigan. You can really tell that. So if anyone is interested in learning more, this is the contact information for Sunfish and the contact information for RMA. We are really here to help. And I know we covered a lot of information about how our unlimited transfer package with the guaranteed refund works. It's a complicated process, but we would be happy to set up a consultation. If you go to this URL, joinsunfish.com/gold program, you can find a link to schedule a VIP consultation with us. We'll get on the phone with you, talk you through your specific situation, any questions. And again, you do get a gift card for setting up that consultation this month. My team just confirmed. So with that, any final words before we wrap up for our listeners?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Really excited to collaborate with you and hopefully help many patients achieve their dream of pregnancy together. And to all of you listening, we would be so honored to be a part of your journey. I know it's a stressful process and we hope we can make it just a little bit easier for you. So thank you, everyone. We'll be sending out the recording and we are here to help if you need anything. Thanks, Dr. Miller. Bye.
Welcome. Good night.